Hello ladies and gents, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And this video is going to be my Premier League predictions for match day 4 of the Premier League. So let's get straight into it, guys. We've got Southampton versus Manchester United as the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Southampton have had a mixed start to the season. They began the season losing 4-1 away at Spurs, and then they had a 2-2 home draw against Leeds, and then they got a fantastic 2-1 away victory at Leicester City last weekend. Goals from Shea Adams, double last weekend as well at Leicester, and also Aribo and Walker-Peters as well as Ward-Prowse have opened their accounts for the season. United kick-started their season with a fantastic 2-1 win against Liverpool last night after 2 disappointing defeats to Brentford and Brighton. In my opinion, I think Manchester United will get another victory here. I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win for Manchester United. I think that the good momentum and the feel-good spirit in that team will continue. Yes, Southampton will prompt a different test for United in terms of breaking them down, etc. But I think the quality of United going forward will be a little bit too much for Southampton. So I'm going to go a 2-1 away win for Manchester United. We've got Brentford versus Everton then up next. Brentford started the season very well, drawing 2-2 away at Leicester City and then beating Manchester United 4-0 at home, but then disappointingly losing in the last minute to Fulham 3-2 last weekend. Everton haven't won a game yet this season. They lost to Chelsea on the opening weekend at 1-0 at home. And then they travelled to Villa Park and lost 2-1 in a game where they could have really got a point out of it towards the end. And then they got a home draw against Nottingham Forest last weekend. Everton will be looking to pick up their first 3 points of the season. Brentford will want to get back to winning ways as soon as possible. And to be honest, I do see Brentford getting back to winning ways in this game. They've got good players in Mbeumo, Norgard, Tony getting off the mark for the season. Players as in Josh De Silva as well as Jensen. And bringing in that experience of Ben Mee as well at the back will prove pivotal for Brentford in another season in the Premier League. So my score prediction for this game is a 3-1 win for Brentford. I just see Brentford being a little bit too strong for Everton. Everton are in a crisis at the moment. They've got no centre forward. Anthony Gordon, their best player, could be off to Chelsea. So yeah, I see Everton struggling in this game and losing 3-1. So that's my prediction for that game. We've got Brighton versus Leeds next at the Amex Stadium. Brighton, unbeaten start to the season. They won 2-1 away at Old Trafford on the opening weekend. They then drew 0-0 at home to Newcastle and then won 2-0 away at West Ham. Leeds, unbeaten start to the season as well. They won 2-1 at home to Wolves on the opening weekend, drew 2-2 away at Southampton, and then beat Chelsea 3-0 at home. What a result for Leeds that was. They outplayed Chelsea, they outran Chelsea. They did everything they needed to do, but better, Leeds. Brighton, good manager, good team. This will be a really, really tough game to call because it's 2 teams in good form with good managers, informed players, and it's at Brighton as well. I see a draw in this one, to be fair. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw because I think both teams will score, but both teams won't want to lose either. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Hopefully it'll be the game of the weekend, but we will see. It's a very good quality game, this, and very hard to call. Next one then, we've got Chelsea up against Leicester at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, first 3 games, they beat Everton 1-0 away from home. They then drew at home to Spurs in controversial fashion, to be fair, and then they lost 3-0 away at Leeds. Leicester Drew 2-2 at home to Brentford on the opening weekend. They then lost 4-2 away at Arsenal. And then they lost 2-1 at home to Southampton. So Leicester are looking for their first 3 points of the season. Chelsea will want to bounce back from that 3-0 defeat to Leeds. And I do see Chelsea bouncing back, to be fair. They're hoping to have a Aubameyang in by that game, so he'll bring some firepower up front. They've got firepower already in Mason Mount, Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic and players like that. So I think Chelsea will be fine in this game. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Chelsea. I just see them being too much. They're at home. They've got the home crowd. Leicester aren't in good form. A lot of controversy and doubt over a lot of their players' future as well. So I think that will play a part in Leicester's demise at the start of this season. And I think it will continue. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 home win to Chelsea. And we'll see how the result plans out. Next one then, we've got Liverpool versus Bournemouth at Anfield. Liverpool have had a very, very poor start to the season. They drew 2-2 away at Fulham on the opening weekend. They then drew 1-1 at home to Palace in their first home game of the season. And then last night they lost 2-1 away at Manchester United. A deserved to lose as well, in my opinion. Bournemouth, they beat Villa on the opening weekend of the season, 2-0. They then lost 4-0 away at Manchester City and lost 3-0 at home to Arsenal. So Bournemouth will be looking for a little bit of stability. But let's be honest, they're going to Anfield. They've played City, Arsenal and Liverpool in the first 4 games. Pretty unlucky if you tell me, but that's what the fixtures are. At least they're going to get them out the way. Liverpool really need to pick up some points quickly. Their fan base is in meltdown, especially after last night. There's a lot of doubt about the manager and the team right now. Do they have to sign players? But I think Liverpool will win this comfortably. I'm going to go 4-1 to Liverpool. I just see them having too much up front with the likes of Salah, Diaz, Firmino, Harvey Elliott as well in that midfield can score a goal or two. So yeah, I see Liverpool having enough to beat Bournemouth here. If Bournemouth gets something from this, then there is something wrong in that Liverpool squad. But I don't see it really. I see Liverpool winning this game 4-1 and quite comfortably, to be honest. So yeah, that's my prediction for this one. Next up, we've got Manchester City versus Crystal Palace at the Etihad. Man City, great start to the season. They won 2-0 away at West Ham, and then they beat Bournemouth 4-0 at home as well. And then they played out that amazing 3-3 draw at Newcastle at the weekend as well. Crystal Palace lost 2-0 at home on the opening day of the season to Arsenal. They then got a very, very creditable draw at Anfield after drawing 1-1, and then they beat Aston Villa 3-1 as well. So it's not a bad start to the season for Crystal Palace either. Do I see Crystal Palace getting anything from this game? No, to be honest. But Crystal Palace tend to be Manchester City's bogey team. They haven't beaten Crystal Palace at home in quite a few years, actually. Crystal Palace seem to enjoy going to the Etihad. It's one of them places where they can go and express themselves and be a lot free and show their quality, Palace. So don't write off Palace, but being realistic with the players that City have going forward, it's got to be a City win, hasn't it? I'm going to go 3-1. I think it will be a lot tighter than a lot of people think. And I think it will be a lot tighter than the scoreline will say as well. But City's quality in Haaland, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Mahrez as well as Alvarez as well off the bench. They've got so much quality, and if they all click together, then they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But Palace have their own good quality as well in Zaha up front, who's had a fantastic start to the season. Jean-Philippe Mateta as well as a target man off the bench who can cause problems in that 6-yard box. They've got a good back line of Mark Guehi and Joachim Andersen, who's had a fantastic start to the season as well. Young players in Eze, Elise as well, and then that experience of Jeffrey Schlupp, Nathaniel Klein, Joel Ward, and Guaita in net as well will bring that experience, that leadership, as well as the talented youngsters as well. So don't overwrite Palace, don't underestimate them, but the quality of Man City should win this game, so I'm going to go 3-1 to Man City. Then we've got the 5:30 game on Saturday. We've got Arsenal versus Fulham at the Emirates. Arsenal are the only team with a 100% record going into this game week 4. 3 wins out of 3. They beat Crystal Palace 2-0 away on the opening day. They then beat Leicester 4-2 at home the following weekend. And then they're coming off a 3-0 away win at Bournemouth. Fulham as well have had a good start to the season. They drew 2-2 at home to Liverpool on the opening weekend, then drew 0-0 away at Wolves, which they could have easily won because Mitrovic missed a penalty in that game, and then they beat Brentford 3-2 as well. Really tough game for Arsenal, this actually. Fulham have come into this season a lot more organised, a lot more competitive, with a lot better players as well, Fulham. Mitrovic has had a fantastic start, getting 3 goals already this season, which will give him the confidence to go forward. They've got Bernd Leno from Arsenal as well, good experienced goalkeeper, international. They brought in Andres Pereira from Manchester United, brings that flair. That João Paulina as well from Sporting Lisbon, good international. Bobby De Covereid as well on that right-hand side causes problems. So Fulham have got their threats that Arsenal will be wary of, but Arsenal have had a fantastic start, as they said. Martin Odegaard scoring goals for fun. William Saliba being a revelation at the back with Gabriel. Bringing in Zinchenko and Jesus as well has strengthened that team and that mentality, as well as Saka and Martinelli, as well as Partey and Xhaka as well. So Arsenal have got a team full of quality now. Mikel Arteta is building that team to be a very competitive team, and they've got to be favourites for top 4 at the moment with the start they've had. And if they can beat Fulham, then they've got 4 wins out of 4, and they're doing very, very well at the start of this season. I am going to go for an Arsenal win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 home Arsenal win. I just see the quality of Arsenal being too much. They've got the confidence, they've got the swagger about them. They're at home as well. But Fulham will provide a stern test, as I said, with the players they've got. But I think Fulham being Fulham, there is a drop-off in Fulham, and I think that could be this weekend. But hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal in this game. We'll go into our Sunday games then. We've got 3. We've got Aston Villa versus West Ham at 2 p.m. at Villa Park. Villa have had a mixed start to the season. They lost 2-0 away at Bournemouth on the opening weekend. They then beat Everton 2-1 at home, which you could say they were quite lucky to get the 3 points at the end because Everton threw the kitchen sink at them. And then they lost 3-1 away at Palace last weekend. West Ham haven't won a league game yet this season. They're rock bottom of the table, 3 defeats from 3. They lost to Manchester City 2-0. Villa, Forest away 1-0, which they could have got something from, to be fair. And then a disappointing result to Brighton 2-0 at the weekend. Coming into this, West Ham have a European Conference League qualifier as well, which they did win the first leg, to be fair to them. But West Ham need to pick up some points and fast. There's looking something wrong with that team. It's a bit stale, to be fair, with the likes of Antonio, Cresswell. Soucek seems to have gone off the boil as well. And it's pulling off on, and it's coming off on Rice as well, that as well. And West Ham don't need that, really. Villa, very unpredictable. They seem to win their they seem to win their home games and lose their away games at the moment. Gerrard needs a bit of stability there. Needs to strengthen his side as well. Really hard to predict. I'm probably going to go 1-1. I think West Ham will pick up their first point of the season. Villa will probably be happy with a point considering the start they've had. They just need to get some consistency, both teams, and need to start picking up points quickly. But yeah, 1-1 draw in this one. We've got the game on Sky Sports then. We've got Wolves versus Newcastle at Molineux. Wolves coming into this without a win this season. They lost 2-1 at Leeds on the opening weekend. They then drew 0-0 at home to Fulham, which they were probably quite lucky not to lose as well. And then they lost 1-0 away at Spurs at the weekend. Newcastle coming into this unbeaten. They beat Forest 2-0 on the opening weekend. They then got a 0-0 draw at Brighton, and then that played out that classic 3-3 draw against Manchester City. That 3-3 draw against Manchester City for Newcastle, they'd be gutted with that because they were 3-1 up, they were cruising, they were playing so well, and then those two killer blows from City really shot them in the foot, and they were hanging on towards the end. But a very creditable point for Eddie Howe's side. Wolves need to pick up a victory soon, otherwise the pressure will be on Bruno Lage. He's changed that team a lot. He's let Connor Cody go, the leader, Mr. Wolves, you could say. So they've lost that experience at the back and that leadership. I do see Newcastle winning this game. I'm going to go 2-1 to Newcastle. I just think the momentum is with Newcastle. The confidence is with Newcastle. And I think the pressure will be on Wolves' manager, Bruno Lage, if he doesn't pick up some points in this game. But yeah, my prediction for this is a 2-1 to Newcastle. But as I said, it could go either way. We'll go on to our 4:30 game then. It's Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. Forest have had a mixed start to the season. They lost 2-0 away at Newcastle on the opening weekend, which we've just mentioned. They then beat West Ham on their first home game in the Premiership for 23 years with a goal from Awanre, their new striker, on his home debut. And then they got a good 1-1 away draw at Goodison Park. Spurs, good start to the season, 7 points from 9. They beat Southampton at home on the opening weekend. They drew 2-2 against Chelsea in controversial style at Stamford Bridge. And then they beat Wolves last weekend, which we just mentioned. I do think Spurs will win this game. Spurs have a lot more quality than Forest. Forest have a full new squad, to be honest with you. It will be difficult for Spurs because they'll have that crowd on their backs. Forest will have that motivation and confidence with the points that they've got in previous games. So it will be hard for Spurs. But I see the quality of Spurs of Son, Kulusevski, Perisic, Kane, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Basuma and people like that will come through in the end. So I'm going to go 2-1 away win for Spurs. I think it will be a lot closer than people think. I think Forest will give Spurs a good game, but I think the quality of Spurs will just show through in the end. So 2-1 to Spurs. And let's see if there's a Monday Night Football. There isn't. So there we go, guys. That's my predictions for the weekend. Yes, I may have rushed through them all, but it's too soon to look at the table just yet, guys. We will start looking at the table and more in-depth stats soon. Let me know down in the comments, guys, or message me on any of my socials, which I'll leave down in the description, about what you think about your team starts the season, what you thought about the predictions I gave there, guys, and let me know your predictions as well. Please like and subscribe and share the channel, guys. We're slowly growing this channel, and I've got plenty of content coming for you guys as well. But until next time, see ya.